Welcome back. We are having another discussion, but this time it's all about the U17 Centrobasket Championship Belize 2023. And we are joined by Jacob Leslie, the president of the Belize Basketball Federation, and also Cojac Smith, the owner of Perc and Consultancy.
Perc Plus.
Perc Plus Consultancy.
Yeah.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right, so let's talk about the Centrobasket Championship, Belize, and why is this particular game so important?
I mean, aside from being a historic event, it's the first time Belize has ever hosted a junior national team competition. I think other federations, normally when they come in, they focus on the seniors because they are more prepared and are ready to compete at a level. And the juniors are much more work because you have to develop them and get them prepared. So the easiest way is to go senior. But we wanted to build an infrastructure as a federation where we're developing our young people and then preparing them to be our senior teams. Because many times when you compete at the senior level, you find that you're importing your team, right? And we wanted to be homegrown and give our guys the opportunity to represent us on the big stage. So it's historic. It's the first time. It's a huge challenge for us. We're playing against some huge teams, some world-class teams, Dominican Republic, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Panama. These are teams that are well invested in sports and well developed in basketball and in these competitions. All of our guys will be the first time wearing a Belize jersey to represent us. So I think it's very important for them to play at home, in front of their home court, in front of their fans and their family to give them that comfort level because they will need it.
Before we touch on us being able to, or hopefully being able to play at home, how were they able to participate in the Centrobasket Championship? Was it a lead up to this?
No, actually because of the pandemic and there were no competitions being held during that time, a lot of teams were not participating. So when they wanted to host this competition, teams like us, like Belize, who are unranked, were able to apply. And because of the teams, the number of teams that participate, because we have some teams who don't need to qualify for this because they've already won qualifiers, we were able to participate just by the luck of the job because, again, the pandemic kind of helped us because teams were not participating.
Talk to us about the work that your brother has done in terms of building this team and being able to provide the kind of coaching and assistance for them.
I mean, that's his life, his life's work, right? We have been training for this from last year because the tournament was supposed to take place last year at the U16 level. FIBA kind of postponed it because they had too many events happening at the same time. And so everybody knows him, Darwin Leslie. He's invested his life in youth development. And so this is just the culmination of being able to showcase the work that we've been putting in for a number of years.
Okay. Cojac, let's go to you. You are the owner of Perc Plus Consultancy. What is your involvement in this process?
Well, Perc Plus involvement in this process is basically to provide the project management for the entire event. So it's just to better get a handle and organization of the event, making sure that deliverables are met, making sure that we're within the regulations of FIBA, because even though this may seem like just a tournament, FIBA has strict regulations in order to carry out tournaments like this, making sure the hotel is up to standard, making sure that we meet the amount of security, moving persons around, being on time. So it's general project management of this entire project. So that is where Perc Plus comes into play. So it's just an engagement between me and Mr. Leslie. He reached out to me knowing that this is what I do, and he knows the benefit of having project management for an event like this. So it will help him and the associate and the federation move the event faster and quicker to get a proper management of the project.
And with it being organized, it looks better on Belize as well.
Yes.
It's a great endeavor that we're taking as a young federation. And so these things are not just like when you're hosting a basketball game at the Civic.
Yeah.
Right? You have to accommodate for 8 teams that are coming into your country. You need attaches with each of these teams to take care of their needs. You need to make sure that the meals are in accordance to their requests. You have to take care of their transportation. You have to make sure you have security. So it's a project. And we want to have people who have the expertise in those areas to make it a smoother transition for us. Because again, we don't want to embarrass our country. We don't want to embarrass the teams and the federation. So working with a project management team was a no-brainer for me because without it, I don't think we'd be able to pull it off.
This comes with a hefty price tag though, because as far as I'm understanding, you guys need $250,000 to be able to pull this off successfully. What has been the outreach in terms of trying to attract funding from the business community or any other stakeholder?
I mean, I think it's, I stated yesterday on the news, it's one of the most discouraging things that I've experienced being in sports. Because yes, it's a challenge, but it's something that if we work together, we can easily achieve. Because many times you don't need cash, you just need services, right? So if hotels will work with us to give us better prices, or if ministries in the government would assist us in the services that they can offer, it will alleviate the cost on us, because unlike other federations, we are not funded by any external body. So whatever events we want to do for these young people, we need to raise it ourselves. And so yes, it's a challenge. The hosting country has to take care of all the accommodations for the visiting teams, all their food, all their transportation, all their security. And so it's a task, but I believe that it was a necessary evil, because this is the only way I believe we could have garnered marketing funds from companies, because they can get the benefit locally of their marketing dollars. If we were to host this competition somewhere else, it would be hard to get sponsorship to afford to have these kids go out and play, because the marketing dollars won't bring value to them. So I believe the only way we could have showcased these kids is by actually hosting it in Belize. It's been frustrating, to say the least, the kind of reception that we have been given, especially with the quality of this competition and the impact it can have on our country and our youth, that it hasn't been received the way we have hoped it would have been. But we are still working, we're on the ground, we're still trying to make sure that we do all that we can to ensure that this thing is hosted in Belize, and these kids who are all under scholarship, right? We have 30 kids who are under scholarship, and this is their time now to showcase the investment isn't worth, is actually worth it in them, no? And it will inspire other kids to aspire to this if they are able to get the opportunity.
So then let's talk about the quality and the impact of this competition. You told us that the Centrobasket Championship is 2 competitions away from the Olympics. Let's touch on that.
Yeah, I mean, if the top 3 teams who advance out to this, 8 teams participating, the top 3 teams advance to the Champions of the Americas. The Champions of the Americas, you play USA, you play Canada, you play Argentina, you play Brazil. These are world-class competition. These are levels that Belize has never entered into. And so the opportunity for these kids to get exposure, I mean, in competitions like these, lots of scouts come into Belize and to these competitions to view, because you're watching the best 17-year-olds in this region. You know, so it's a great opportunity for the kids, but aside from that, the exposure that they can get and the experience, you can't put a dollar value on it. So for us to say, yes, it's over $250,000 we're looking at to host it, the benefit that the country can receive from it is far way more than that.
Yeah.
I think one of the ironies, and it's just my observation based on what you've shared, is the fact that perhaps businesses are more likely to gravitate towards established teams and competitions. Like if you look at what's taking place right now, there's a lot of money that's being invested in this particular season of basketball.
Right.
But the kids have to start somewhere, right? They never just grow big and then they start play ball, right? They have to get involved in some kind of an activity or curriculum designed for them to learn this sport. Let's talk about that, Cojac.
And it's not only that too, Isani. You have to look at sports tourism. That's a major thing that Belize is missing out on. I mean, you see it in, for example, volleyball a little bit, but the gap's very large there. While companies are not sponsoring national teams, so to speak, like you're saying, if it is that we start sponsoring into the national team, like Mr. Lester said, it's just the first step. If our team does good and we could advance to another competition, or we perform well in terms of setting up the event, making sure it runs smoothly, everything is up to FIBA standard, and we make a good name for ourselves, we can host other events going forward. And that's bigger events, meaning more adults coming in, more people coming into the country, people staying extended time beyond the competition, getting to see the country, and hotels get extra funding, vendors get extra income coming in. So it's an economic boost all around. So if we really start put sponsorship in these programs, and I'll tell you, like what you mentioned earlier with Poppy Darwin, he's been doing this for a while along with several other coaches in Belize. So these youths have been exposed to discipline, proper training. So it's not like we're just putting out a team just to say put out a team there. I think that the team could be very competitive, and if we continue investing in youths, we can really build something and a product that can be marketable throughout the world. And that is just where we are at this point. In terms of managing the event, there are several key aspects that we're falling short on. For example, as Mr. Leslie mentioned earlier, we are missing funding. Funding is a very key area that we are missing, and as well as resources, human resources. The competition requires several deliverables, and there are certain points that these deliverables have to be met. And if it is that we don't meet these deliverables, the chances are for us to not host this competition is very high. At the end of this week, we need to have some serious progress in the planning and the structuring of this event, or we'll have to regretfully back out.
So your deadline is this week?
Yes, so it's critical. It's a critical point at this point in time. There are several different procurement that needs to be made, several different communication with FIBA, making sure that certain things are in place: hotel, accommodation, food, having transportation in place, security. So we need anything that the public is willing to give or donate: time, resources, finances. Those are all important at this point in time, and while it may seem ad hoc, it's not. We've planned this out, but as Mr. Lester mentioned in the newscast last night, we have had commitments, but some of the commitments have reneged on us.
Yeah.
So this is a very critical point. It's either go or no go at this point in time.
Do or
so
die.
we're appealing to the public that this is a major opportunity for Belize. If it is that they can help or support the project in any way or form, could always contact the Belize Basketball Federation and see how best you could help or apply your technical skills or financial resources.
Just to add to that, the reason it's so important that we host it is because we begged for it, right? I mean, me and the Secretary General traveled to Miami and we begged FIBA to host this competition because we have some young men that deserve to be showcased, right? We have a kid, Douglas Langford, who's about 6'10", who's received numerous Division I scholarships, and we have had few individuals in this country who have received Division opposite. We have another kid, Ian Parham, who has got numerous Division I scholarships. So we have kids that are at a high level that need to be showcased, that need to be the Belizean public needs to be aware of these kids, and we need to put our investment into these kids to make sure that we give them the opportunity to have their full potential, right? If by any means we were forced, and I'm hoping that that doesn't come to pass, that we would have to withdraw, it's a great challenge for Belize to get back on the map in basketball, because FIBA would never grant us another opportunity to host, because when they did, a month before the competition, you bailed on us, and then it puts FIBA in a bad position, and it puts Belize in a bad position, and these youths may never get the opportunity to put on a national team jersey again. Wow. So it's difficult. Like I said, it's been a frustrating process for me and for the federation, but we're not out of it, and we're still on the ground, we're still fighting. I mean, we're still in communication with government officials, and we're still hoping that they come through last minute for us. Private sector, we're hoping that they understand the value of what this is. This is for country.
So here's a question. There's an entire Ministry of Sports that should, in principle at least, be able to assist, if not financially, with the resources that it has to be able to facilitate this kind of an initiative. Where are you guys in terms of reaching out to them or liaising with them for assistance?
I mean, I was on the phone with the Minister of Sports last night. I must give him his props. Whenever I reach out, he responds. A lot of the complaints that he has had for many years, publicly and privately, is that the Ministry of Sports is underfunded, right? And it's hard for him to manage the amount of supporting this we have in this country and events that we have with the minimal budget that he has. Most of the budget that he is allocated goes to staffing and not actually the sports. And so, I mean, he has committed to me that even today he'll be trying his best to see how he can meet the gaps that we have. But again, there's no promises there, and there are deadlines that we have to meet, and so we're still trying to put our feet on the ground and see what we can do. But yes, we have been having conversation with the Ministry of Sports, and even different ministers, the Minister of Home Affairs, who is in charge of security, so that we don't have those cars, the Civic Center that we have to pay to use for national team events. Those are things that we don't think we should be able to have to find funds to pay to use a facility for our national homegrown boys to play basketball in. But these are right. But these are those things that structurally we need to understand the importance of sports, and this society needs to understand what sports can do for these young people, male and females. And until we do that, we're failing them and we're failing our society.
Let's wrap things up by talking about the athletes that will be playing. What are their reaction to the potential of what this game can do for them?
They're excited, right? And that's the part. We've been, like I said, we've been working from last year. So it's for them to not get the opportunity. I can't deliver that message. Like, I can't go to these kids and say, man, we've been working for over a year, but unfortunately we can't do it. You know, so they're excited, and we haven't even had these discussions with them. They are preparing fully to participate. And we are doing, and we are going. We were practicing yesterday. We are practicing again tomorrow and Saturday. So we are continuing to move in a position where we're giving them reassurance that we on our end will do everything to make sure that you guys are put in a position to express your skills. So you focus on the game and let us focus on the other side of it. But I mean, it's a great opportunity. We have 4 kids who are Belizeans who are playing in the United States right now who are already made arrangements to come into Belize to help us bolster this team, to help us compete at the highest level. Arrangements have already been made. So I think we are full in, and so it's just for us to really, as a country and as a government and as private sector, decide what is more important for us, like you said, Isana. Is it a professional league in Belize showcasing players who are being paid to play basketball, that a lot of them are not even from our country, or giving our young people opportunity to compete at the highest level and giving them that exposure so that they can be professionals in the future. And I think that's where we have to have a seismic shift in our view. This is where it's important, saving our young people and giving them opportunities, because if we do that, the amount that they can inspire. You know, we have never seen a Belize team play against a US team in basketball. And we have that opportunity. We're one competition away from that. And for us to not maximize it, it'll take basketball 10 steps backwards. And basketball, say what they want, with the least investment, has always produced medals. Whenever they go, they do a good showing. And we believe, again, that these 17 and under, who the core are our homegrown boys, should be given that opportunity to showcase their skills. And that's all we're working for.
Yeah. Gentlemen, we hope it works out. And we look forward to whatever progress you guys make. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Appreciate
We appreciate the information. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll be joined by the founder of It's Obviously Delicious to talk about their family fun day. Don't go away.